Okay, sorry. My bad.
I bet my Frank has something.
Okay.
Here's that
I'm
Calhoun Burns one.
I always want to start when I see somebody.
Here's
especially men.
Lee handed me all three of
I need to
these.
show one I can smile through. It's like, I don't like it because I can't smile.
Either.
Oh, okay. I always want to say, who is that man? Iowa Silver.
Okay, so good morning, Pat. Good morning.
I have two agendas if anybody needs one.
Yeah, I wondered where that ended up. I
Do you
mean,
need one?
it was the one they post outside, like on the bulletin board.
I've got extra one.
Just put it in case somebody shows up.
On Thursday when I left, I had already left, I'm like, I didn't post the agenda. Because usually I can't.
All right. Sorry to interrupt, but good morning, everyone. We're going to get our meeting started. I'll call this Board of Supervisors meeting open. We'll look at our agenda. The first is to acknowledge the minutes of the previous meeting.
Someone,
I have a motion from Sandquist, a second from Dimmitt. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we'll meet with Scott, our county engineer. Scott.
Morning. Oh, let's see. So it's been a couple of weeks. Have two lists of things. One thing I'll bring up right away is that all of the asphalt is laid. And they finished putting in the shoulders and driveway gravel or entrance gravel over the weekend. So they're going to be working on Pleasant Plain Road now. I mean, that was on Germanville that they did the shoulder rock and the entrance rock. So they're moving to Pleasant Plain to work on it, and then they'll need to do finish up Brookville Road and do Vetch. They've just had safety rock on those locations, and they'll finish up the shoulder rock on all of that. They're hoping to finish that this week before the holiday. And then as far as our crews go, they've done blading of gravel roads, blading for dust control, and then they sprayed 1/10 by Lindy and some spots on butternut. Bridge replacement, they finished 265th Street Bridge, and I think they've even gotten the seating done. There was a time during the last couple of weeks when they had to clear a tree off the road. That went down in the wind and was blocking the road. They've had a mulching head on the excavator and worked on 165th west of Juniper and on 265th. That's the, I can't remember, Fecon mulching head. Okay, so some brush cutting in District 2 using the boom mower, equipment maintenance, mowing on shoulders, started some painting, I think mostly the hand painting, things like stop bars, and I don't know if they've actually started the striping yet. And then patch some potholes with the Total Patcher machine. The did seating on the rail cars, the 265th, and they might have done seating on the one at Redwood as well. No, that one was done earlier. So the 265th is where they did the seating now, at that bridge replacement with the tanker cars. Some weed spraying at bridges. Den code, patched concrete on Libertyville Road. They did some work on 2 of the bridges, the ones that are having the pilot repairs done on them later. And I think that's covered kind of most of what we've done in the last 2 weeks.
Okay. I know the pavement's looking really good out there. Germanville Road is just night and day different. You know, can't say much better for what's going on out there than what has happened. So
We still need to take down the rough road sign.
yeah, I was going to ask you that. I had a comment from one of the flaggers out there that was the first road they were ever on, a first concrete paved road they were ever on that had rough road signs along it.
Yeah.
In various places, and they had thought it was pretty comical. So, all right, let's move on to discuss and consider Birch Avenue pavement patching proposal. This is by Denko Highway.
Yeah, they're here. We asked them to look at that. I mean, we still have an inquiry into,
Norris
for
the
Norris,
overlay.
right, but, no response to that. But whether we get that done or not, this full depth patching is probably important to do ahead of time.
Yeah,
So, I was thinking, I mean, I wasn't sure where we would get the funding for resurfacing Birch unless it was out of, funds that we still have available from the bonds. So I thought, well, if this can come out of the bonds too, then, that would be a good thing, budget wise.
So, in terms of, obviously, like you said, it needs to be done before we resurface anyway, but in terms of road quality after it's done, would the end user see a significant difference in that road?
Well, they will from the county line down to the south driveway of the school. South of there, they've done total patching, and the road's solid with the patching and weatherized with the patching, and if we resurface that part, it's ready to go. The part that would be patched is where lots of farm equipment and things have come down the road and turned at the south area of the school to go to fields and various places. So that could be solid after this patching is done, and we'd be ready to go to get a quote to do the asphalt, or if we have to put it through another process. Resurfacing might have to be done later, because I'm not positive where Norris is going today with their asphalt equipment since they finished up.
well, they're still using the same trucks though for doing the gravel
Yes.
shouldering, so
So they'll be working on that this week, and my impression is that we don't have as much, that maybe some of the plans, particularly the ones that we had consulted out, seemed to have more asphalt in them than what had to be put down or what ended up being put down. So we might have some, we haven't figured it up yet, but there could be some additional money available
Right,
still. So
right.
How soon do you know all that?
probably have a pretty good idea this week.
I was thinking it was pretty quick.
Yeah, because the asphalt, I mean, with the asphalt work all done, we can go ahead and
Sure.
Do
Yeah.
final quantities
Yeah.
and, yeah.
just have to divide all the tickets up.
But
various projects.
if we are only to accomplish just this patching, that's quite a bit of patching, 772 square yards is quite a bit. And that'll do a lot to improve the roadway out there from the condition that it's in now. But again, that'll only be that 1 mile stretch up to the county line. Anything from there north is Keokuk County, and so they would have to do something. But, you know, we had some money, we have some money, we should be able to use it to try to get something accomplished out there, because it is another one of the roads that are in desperate need.
Yep.
You pretty much would have to take your rough road signs from Germany over there.
Well, and
That's,
we've had a lot of
That's
comments come out
efficiency.
there too.
Recycle your sign.
And we haven't had any money available for now.
right, so, all right,
So we need to approve this agreement?
yes, we do.
So I would make a motion to accept the add-on quotation from Denko Highway for Birch Avenue.
Second,
Okay, I have a motion from Dimmitt and a second from Sandquist to approve the bid from Denko Highway for the patching out on Birch Avenue by Pekin School. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, now we have discuss and consider supplemental agreement for final design services, Bridge FHWA 201420, project BROS swap 4650 parent 601 SE-51.
Accept that.
yeah, I don't have one of those.
I thought one got slid over to you, but
Do I?
It was just given this morning.
yeah, it was a 2-page that says
Might be under here.
Calhoun Burns.
There it is.
And these are the two originals that that Aaron would sign and I would attest.
Okay. All right, so a little explanation about this is the bridge location first.
This is it. This is the one where we have the 2080 agreement with Maharishi Vedic,
Okay.
and it's just for the final design work.
Okay.
So the total is 11,000 and some change.
Yes.
That was like at $2,200. I'd sell it for half that.
Okay, so we have.
Well, I think that it's not 2,200 an hour. It's the final coordination submittals would be at hourly rates, and then it's estimated that total for many hours, however many it is, would be 2,200.
Okay, I'm confused. It's okay.
That sounds to me like the 2,200 is the total amount
Yes. Well, of that particular,
item.
right.
Okay.
I mean, but I could see how you could read it.
Yeah.
And this is for a twin 10 by 8 by 50 reinforced concrete box culvert.
Yes.
And the expected cost for construction is $375,000.
Yes.
Now refresh my memory on how much Dedic City pays and how much we pay.
There's a City Bridge Fund is being used for 80% of it, and we're splitting the cost on the other 20%. And this isn't entirely in the city, but half of this is in the city and half of it is in the county. So.
Thank you. All right, I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion from Sandquist to approve the contract with Calhoun and Burns. I have a second from Dimmitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we'll move on to discuss and consider annual Bible reading for July 14th at 7:14 a.m. to 8:14 a.m. on courthouse grounds. Dee, I'm going to let you talk a little bit about this.
Call on this and I checked with Pat and I think it's interesting. They've done this like 3 years and before it's always been an ascending. We've never heard anything. And then this year I've gotten 2 calls last week about it. But the bottom line is this is not a Board of Supervisors sanctioned activity. The courthouse grounds are public grounds and anybody can use them peacefully. So this group really doesn't need to seek our approval. It's nice that they're communicating with us and letting us know this is happening. So I don't know if we need to approve it or just recognize it's going to happen and let our people know, because I think that's the important part since I believe it is a Tuesday that it's happening. Yeah, 14th. So it is a little bit of different time this year. It'll be 7:14 to 8:14. So then I see the next part's considering the location. So given the time on a Tuesday, where would we want them? You know, previously, I guess they've come on the concrete, but they recognize the courthouse will be open, so they're going to go somewhere on the lawn.
Okay, well, we have a pre-construction meeting for tuck pointing here at the courthouse this Thursday at 11 a.m. So we'll know a little bit more about when that job will be, but the parking lot will be closed at some point so that they could use it as a staging area. So I would suggest maybe the northeast corner. There's the bench out there, and that's usually shaded at that time in the morning. So it isn't necessarily as hot as where it is in the rest of the courthouse grounds. So if that's okay with the board members, I would suggest that we tell them that quadrant of the grounds.
But in this case, I'm going to suggest we don't act on this. We just recognize it's going to happen and they communicated and we appreciate the communication. Because my concern is if we approve this, then if some group comes and we don't know about it, then people go, well, why didn't you approve that group, you know?
Yeah, I understand that.
I mean, I don't have a strong opinion, that's just my thought.
Well, and you had asked some information from Pat McVan on this, and Pat, could you mention a little bit about what you see as the law concerning this and the governance of the courthouse grounds?
Sure, Darren. The general rule is that the government may not impose content-based restrictions on speech in a public forum. So the courthouse lawn is that type of setting. As Dee stated, I think that we don't have to approve or put this on the agenda at all, because this group and any other group would have the right to act in this way. The only thing that I think is sort of appropriate, or I guess should be discussed, and Dee already did it, is just sort of acknowledging the courtesy that the group has to sort of ask, hey, where's the best place for us to be so that it's not disruptive or in the way. There are some limitations that we can put on it. Obviously, can't block like a doorway, things like that. But for the most part, we need to allow any speech in a public forum like the courthouse grounds. So I think you guys are on the right track. I agree with Dee that there's really no need to act. Acting gives the impression that we do have some authority, or it can be interpreted that the board is advertising or advancing one particular group over another. And so I don't think there's any need to take any action. The discussion about the location, I think, was appropriate. I appreciate, you guys considering where the safest place for them to be, particularly if there's construction going on.
So Pat, that leads me to a question, and I agree with, with everything you said, but can we, moving forward in the future, we haven't done this because these folks have always come and said, hey, we're going to do this on such and such a date if everybody's okay with it. Can we at least require notification from any potential individual or groups so that, as Darren pointed out, we have work that's going to be going on, or even if we don't, but at least in terms of where we would have them locate for safety reasons, if for no other reason?
I don't think there's a requirement for that. I actually looked to see if there was any counties or municipalities in the state that have like a permit process for this. I was actually thinking about the city of Fairfield, and as it relates to like Central Park, I didn't find anything. That doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. I was just sort of searching the internet. But again, anytime that you get into a permit or any of those types of processes, then you get much closer to being considered as sort of picking and choosing, or maybe favoring one group over another. I think what you do have is the ability, if you notice that someone's there and it's not in a safe or appropriate place, that you have the ability to ask them to move to a different area. But I have not found like a permit process like you're asking about.
And I wasn't looking for a permit process. I was just looking for notification so that, somebody drops Darren a line, or, a phone says, hey, we'd like to do such and such. And Darren says, well, on the west side of the building, we're going to be tearing it down. So you really need to be on the east side of the building. The other part of that is that when the general public says, and Dee kind of broached it, when the general public says, what the hell are you doing? It would be nice for us to know that it was happening. Because the last thing I think you want to say to somebody is, well, I didn't even know what was going on.
Well, and the other piece is, I know last fall we had people coming into the courthouse, and it would have been helpful to have notification, because there were workers scared and concerned because they heard this, it was peaceful, but they heard this noise and they were like, what is going on?
Yeah, it was the climate change group that did that with their zombies. The people that were dressed up came in, shouted some stuff inside here on the first level of the courthouse, and then left fairly quickly. But we had some panic go on in the courthouse because they weren't aware of what was going to happen. And so, yeah, it would be nice if groups would just either send an email or call one of the supervisors and let them know, hey, we're wanting to do this. This is kind of the time frame and so on. And then we can let them know if, like Lee said, if there's work going on here on that particular day, that they need to keep that in mind, and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Maybe our news media can help us with that.
That could be. So, all right. So we are going to take any actual action on this for approval, but we do know that they will be here again on July 14th from 7:14 a.m. to 8:14 a.m. And we're recommending that they use the northeast quadrant of the courthouse lawn for their activity, because construction tuck pointing will be going on during that time period. So,
Are you gonna reach out to them then?
okay. Let's move on to consider fiscal year 21 employee salaries. So the first one we have in front of us is for the county road department employees. We have the full and part-time employees be effective July 1st of 2020. We have a list of all the employees that we have here: Terry Allison, Randy Atwood, Mark Bell, Troy Bisgard, Kenneth Cronk, Wes Davis, Bill Rhodes, Thomas Ensminger, Alan Forsyth, Kyle Landon, William Haynes, Trent Holtkamp, Chad Lemansky, Tommy Langford, Brent Lapointe, Brian Lauderman, Ellen Melcher, Ryan Metz, Dennis Peebler, Keaton Phillips, Jared Porin, Jess Rauscher, Marvin Thacker, Scott Klein.
Is this a new kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott is the only salaried employee on this list. All the rest of them are hourly employees that are at various steps through the wage scale. And a few of the employees have longevity increases as well with theirs. So I would look for a motion to approve the secondary road salaries for fiscal year 21 beginning July 1st of 2020.
Second.
I have a motion from Sandquist, a second from Dimmitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, we've got now a resolution for the Jefferson County employees, and these would be here at the courthouse and other areas that the county has. We have D. Sandquist as supervisor, Lee Dimmitt as supervisor, Darren Hamilton as supervisor, Dave Taft is janitor maintenance here at the courthouse. Bill Sloop is our landfill manager. Scott Reniker, auditor and commissioner of elections. Shannon Pearson, first deputy auditor. Abby Deefline, second deputy auditor. Melissa Fowler, accounting clerk. Mark Myers, treasurer. Stacy Unkridge, deputy treasurer. Christy Connor, universal clerk. Allie Nicholson, universal clerk. Cody Crew, universal clerk. Paige Novak, universal clerk. Chauncey Molding, county attorney. Pat McVan, first deputy county attorney. Mike Brown, assistant county attorney, part-time. Michelle Manning, paralegal. Christine Baker, collections officer, part-time. Karen Pesh, legal secretary. Aaron Hopper, deputy. Kent Locks, deputy. Chris Metcalf, deputy. Angie Porin, deputy. Justin Smith, deputy. Michelle Campbell, sergeant, civil clerk. Ruth Deo, civil clerk, secretary. Greg Morton, sheriff. Bart Richmond, deputy sheriff, chief deputy. Tracy Vance, deputy. Jerry Marcellus, lieutenant. Mark Miller, deputy. Rusty Simpson, deputy. Mike Simmons, captain. John Cornelius, lieutenant. Sherry Miller, lieutenant. Tracy Adkins, sergeant. Daniel Brown, sergeant. Melinda Brown, sergeant. Christopher Michaels, sergeant. Laura Noble, sergeant. Robert Stidham, sergeant. Dustin Mallinger, jailer. Cody McCabe, jailer. Kevin McIntosh, jailer. Laura Minor, jailer. Brian Sin, jailer. Brian Brain, jailer. Sujata Birkeland, jailer.
Good for you.
Anna Davalia, jailer. Frank Smith, jailer. Kelly Spees, recorder, register. Elizabeth Hickenbottom, deputy recorder. Christine Carter, recorder's clerk. Sean Morrissey, county conservation director. Bob Leisure, operations supervisor. Caleb Schmidt, park technician. Brittany Tiller, naturalist. Raymond Chambers, Veterans Affairs Executive Director. Raymond Chambers, General Assistance Director. Chris Estel, Public Health Administrator. Deb Boot, Registered Nurse. Mandy Lauderman, Registered Nurse. Tammy Merrill, Registered Nurse. Michelle Hoy, HCA. Laura Van Zee, HCA. Dan Miller, RS, Environmental Health. Sandy Stever, Coordinator of Disability Services. Leah Kraft, Coordinator of Disability Services Assistant. Steve Wimming, Assessor. Sheila Fight, Office Manager. Randy Kiefer, Appraiser. Hillary Davis, Assessor's Clerk. Brett Farrell, Emergency Management E911 Coordinator. So those are the employees of the county through the various offices that we have and various elected officials that we have. So do I have a motion to approve these new salary increases?
Motion to approve.
Okay, I have a motion to approve from Sandquist, a second from Hamilton. Discussion?
Pat, are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, he's here.
Pat, Brett Farrell is not an employee of the county. He's an employee of the Emergency Management Commission, and I don't think he should be in this resolution. We set his salary, not the county.
I know that there's something as it relates to his salary. I mean, it goes through because we're the fiscal agent, right?
Yes, but it's paid out of the Emergency Management Commission's budget. It's not paid out of county budget.
So we could do that one separate if necessary.
Okay.
How about Simcoe?
The only thing is, there's not a July pay period until for a couple weeks. So if there needs to be some different language or different resolution, you'll have time to do that.
Would that also be the same for Bill Sloop, the landfill manager?
Most likely, yes. Because he's paid through a 2080, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and in the Emergency Management Commission, we've already approved his budget and salary.
That would be for
Brett Farrell.
Not who we were just talking about, Bill Sloop.
Right.
Yeah, Bill Sloop's paid by the income from the landfill and through the 2080 agreement between Washington County, Keokuk County, and ourselves, Jefferson County. I'm not sure if we're the fiscal agent, as you had said. I think we are from down here, but I think if we're going to remove Brett Farrell from this particular list, I think we also should remove Bill Sloop and then do a little investigation as far as whether they need a separate type resolution from us, considering that we have these 2080 agreements in place.
And I have no problem, I think the public has a right to know what the salaries are. I'm just not sure that they fall under the county's umbrella per se.
Yeah, we certainly don't want to list them as employees if they are not employees. That, you're rightly as a sort of a legal basis somewhere down the road, if there's some, whether it be unemployment claims or whether it be some liability things or whatever, that label can be significant. So.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the list as previously read. Would you be willing to take a friendly amendment to your motion? Okay, we have a friendly amendment to remove Bill Sloop and Brett Farrell from the list of Jefferson County employees as listed off in this resolution. All those in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Now, can I get a resolution, or excuse me, a recommendation for approving this resolution with the names as modified?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Dimmitt and a second from Sandquist. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So Abby, I marked those two names on this list that I have so that it's easy for her to find.
Aaron is mine.
Oh, okay. At 9 o'clock, I'm sorry, it's now 9:07. At 9 a.m., we have a public hearing on, second public hearing for the ordinance amending the Jefferson County Code of Ordinances, amending Chapter 5-30, establishing the Jefferson County Airport Tall Structures Ordinance. Okay, we have that in front of us here.
Motion to open the public hearing.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion to open the public hearing by Dimmitt, second by Sandquist. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. As I see, we don't have any public present here. We do have Michael Brown and Pat McVan and the KMCD news station on with us via Zoom. I would ask, is there any public comment from any of us supervisors? County road engineer? No. We have no public comment, so I'll ask that we close the public hearing.
Motion to close the hearing.
Second.
I have a motion from Sandquist and a second from Dimmitt to close the hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So let's take a motion to approve this ordinance from the second to the third reading.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. This ordinance is now going to move to its third reading. We'll have to set a public hearing for that in 2 weeks, July 13th. At,
I will, July 13th at 9 a.m.
yeah,
Second.
okay, we have a motion from Dimmitt to set the third and final reading for this ordinance on July 13th at 9 a.m. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. So we have made our way through this portion. Now we'll move on to discuss and consider Iowa Economic Development Authority Community Development Block Grant CDBG project contract.
I need its own agenda. Is that all?
Okay, Pat reviewed this, so if you've got any comments, Pat, it's my understanding that the template they send out that we need to approve as part of all the items, and we're getting most of the paperwork approved. I did get a call from Chris Bowers at the end of last week who said he would help do the program administration. I said, great, because when we come to reimbursement, that's where I could really use him. So I'm gonna call him after this meeting and see how we can work together. But I really appreciate all the work Pat has done on all this paperwork, because it's been quite a bit. So thank you, Pat. I'll make a motion that we approve this contract.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Sandquist to approve the CDBG contract. I have a second from Dimmitt. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Will we have will this be recorded or anything?
We just need to have Darren sign it and we send it back in.
I didn't see the place on there.
Yeah, maybe it'll be in the minutes and Abby, make sure we get detailed minutes, please, that we approved it. But I believe it says here we need to sign it and send it in. Once signed, return the original signed copy to Haley Cruiser.eda.
Well, I don't see a signature
Yeah, I don't
page
either.
attached.
Pat, did yours have a signature page on it? Maybe it just got cut off.
Right there.
I'll look and see.
She expects me to count.
Here it is. I have it.
Okay.
Well, good, because we don't.
It
That's
is
good that you have it.
the, actually, it's on the
Oh, the-
third page from the end.
Oh, okay.
So,
Good job.
all right, I will,
I see it. Thank you.
I think we have a signed copy here too.
we've had a motion, a second, and a vote on this. So I will go ahead and sign this now and then give
And then can
this.
you please scan it and send it to me and we'll send it in? Thank you. This is for Abby.
Okay, and then this one's for Abby as well. It's got my signature on the top there for it, so. All right, we'll move on to make committee reports. I met with the Southern Iowa Crime Commission and the Southern Iowa Detention Services last Thursday. We met at the Pizza Ranch. Meeting went well. We're right on budget. Everything is going to be good this year. We're a little bit under budget. We did have some slowdowns on the detention part of it because of COVID. A lot of the people that would be clients down in Lee County with this were not sent because of worries of having an outbreak at the facility. There was some vandalism that went on in a couple of spots down there. Smoke detector was torn off the wall in one place, and a vent for heating and cooling was torn off the ceiling in one of the cells. So the staff at the facility were able to fix and repair both of those instances and also improve it so that there's no way to try to pull vents down off of the ceiling any longer there, and that saved quite a bit of money from having a contractor come in from outside and do the work. The staff down there is really great. They take on a lot of these smaller things so that it can be done in-house. We're still looking at the contract for doing the roofing project. We came to an agreement by the group that we can go ahead with one contractor. They finally got us references for their work and got in their liability insurance and bonding proof to us. So we're going to go with one contractor to do that. We're also currently looking at some flooring that needs to be replaced. There's some carpeting that's not doing pretty good, and it needs to be taken care of. The discussion though now is whether we put back carpeting, and if we do, what type. Is it the squares so that if one gets damaged, you can pull it out and put another one down? Or do we go with a harder surface tile type flooring, whether it's a lock type floating flooring or not? We're still looking into those for down there, but we had a good productive meeting overall, and everybody went away feeling pretty good about it after this. So that was what I did this last week.
1015 Transit, we met at the transit location. We approved a resolution with the city of Ottumwa, who approved it a week earlier in their city council meeting, for the transfer of all vehicles and cash assets from Ottumwa to 1015 Transit in regards to fixed route services. We have all but 10 drivers called back. Our ridership is picking up. New buses on order specifically for fixed routes. We're looking at a new type of 14 passenger bus that instead of the big buses that you're used to seeing and stuff, it's more like the where you see the Mercedes buses. It's more like that. It's not a Mercedes bus.
How many years do they get on a bus?
Well, that depends. If you buy it with state funds, there is what's called useful life from the state, and it doesn't matter how long you had the bus. It's predicated upon miles. Or, I mean, it's all part of that equation. If we buy it with local dollars, it's whatever. And so we're looking right now to buy one of these buses. It's $130,000, but the thing is, rather than the doors, opening out and that sort of thing for the passenger to get on, these doors slide internally, and the access is it's much lower to the ground, so the access for a person to step up into is much easier. We can accommodate 3 wheelchairs, which then would reduce your passenger number to 11. It's very comparable to the other buses that we buy in terms of cost, $130,000. I know that sounds outrageous because it is, but with all of the extra features and things that are built into these, it's what drives that cost up. The Ottumwa fixed route transition is progressing very, very well. We brought over 8 drivers from the city of Ottumwa that applied. Actually, we had 9. Actually, we had 10. One we didn't hire. One, she took a position at another company there, thinking, because she really didn't want to do fixed route anymore, not realizing that we would have put her wherever she wanted to go. So she may come back. But anyway, we've hired 8 drivers. We've gotten the $400,000 from the city of Ottumwa that was sitting in the transits, the DOT dollars. And we discussed and agreed to increase funding for veteran transportation. Each of us counties, the 10 counties, contribute $2,500 a year annually. And the only reason we do that is because if we don't, it significantly reduces our reimbursements from the state and the feds, because we have, quote, skin in the game.
I wonder, because a lot of people from here probably don't ride those.
Right. So what we've done is we've allocated that entire $25,000 to pay for veterans transportation if needed. And I pushed for a long time, not that the transit didn't want to do it, but what this allows is, I'm going to call it supplemental transportation. Whenever, the veterans van or whatever from Ottumwa or whatever entity, if they already have a van in place and they're taking the vets to wherever they're taking them. But when we have those needs, when the vets have those needs that don't fit into that van schedule, we are much, much more flexible in terms of schedule. And if they're not on Medicaid or anything of that nature, that where the MCOs or whatever pay the ride, we will transport that veteran for free wherever they need to go. And then that cost of that transportation will come out of $25,000. RPA meeting right after, we approved the amendments to Jefferson County's request to add the 257th Street Bridge. Project includes $273,000 in federal aid and $227,000 in swap funding. Also approved the H28 bridge over Burr Creek. project includes 409,000 round figures in federal aid and 340,000 in SWAP funding. Kicking County, Van Buren County, and Wapello County also had amendments, all approved by TAC committee. Scott, since I think you chair that, don't you?
New chair now.
New chair, okay.
Andrew, Andy.
That's all I have.
Chair now.
I had ECI, and it was a pretty long meeting because it was the annual, do all the contracts, so you have to score all the contracts and all the paperwork. Pathfinder's got the fiscal agent, they've done that several years, so I abstained from that vote because I'm chair of that. Got an email on Friday from Mark Dwyer, who is the chair of Convention and Visitors Bureau, and Terry Baker is their new executive director
I'm
for
sorry.
CVB.
Say that again, I didn't catch all that.
Terry-
Terry Margaret, but I didn't.
Terry Baker's the new CVB executive director.
Oh, okay.
And if you want more information, Gary, contact Mark Dwyer.
So, does that put her in charge of,
Just CVB,
okay.
not the rest of it.
No, my
They announced
understanding,
on
they're
the
still
news this
looking.
morning, there's another executive director that'll be here for the FACC.
Okay.
That was on radio this morning.
The Arts and Convention Center. Okay.
So Terry's only CVB, Convention and Visitors.
Okay.
She was
Was
assistant.
that, how do I want to say this, was that joint duties then under Rustin? at that
Yes,
time?
Rustin did both at that time.
Okay.
And, I did spotlight almost 2 weeks ago, but yeah.
Okay. That's all of our committee reports. Do we have any public comments? Again, we don't have any members of the public in here with us. It would be just comments from the supervisors, engineer, anyone that's online with us yet that has any comments are allowed to chime in at this point in time. Okay, Scott Klein has got something, road project of some sort coming up that he wants to notify us of.
Yeah, this was mentioned the last meeting that we had, but it's getting closer now, so starting today.
That's pretty close.
Yeah,
That's what I was just gonna say.
but it was announced 2 weeks ago too.
Right.
And this notice has been out. It's for Juniper Avenue. And Billy had contacted the property owners and the porters who, the last time we wanted to work on this road, they wanted it changed to a different time.
Right, that was gonna fall during harvest.
Yeah,
if
so
you
they
remember.
they find this time more satisfactory, so.
That's good.
Good.
Okay.
And
And it's-
we're doing what on Juniper?
From between, well, for the mile that's north of 270th Street, we are going to be, this is real fine print,
Rebuilding, that's what he said. last time.
reshaping the road,
Okay.
cleaning the ditches, spreading new gravel, and the road will be closed while under construction.
Right, and that's pulling things up from the ditch bottoms,
Yep.
reshaping the four slopes somewhat, narrowing the top if it's expanded or not, and then putting down gravel.
Yeah, I mean,
It's like what they
we-
did on Redwood.
Are we gonna break up?
We
the
don't
rest of that
call it-
seal coat?
we're not necessarily narrowing there. And I don't think there's any seal coat
Got it all broke up, okay.
on that.
Where are we on doing more of that stabilization process?
Well, we've approved getting the
Mhm.
loader that we need for that, but we don't have the loader yet.
But now that we're in another fiscal year, almost.
Yeah, we'll be looking into what we might want to do, when we might get the loader, things like that.
I just think that sounds like it has a lot of potential if we have the right equipment.
Yeah, the right equipment's important. I think we have seen some other roads where they have the top of the line equipment to do it with. The results there are slightly better than what we got.
So, I understand the road being closed, but do we make accommodations for the quarry?
Not that I know of, they'll have to take a different route.
I mean, how do they get out of the quarry? They can't come out on the road.
Well-
Is there another access in and out? I don't
Well-
know.
You can go north, right?
They can go north, yeah. We're just closing it down between,
Okay,
270th.
260th and 270th.
gotcha,
Right.
okay, perfect. I misunderstood, I thought. So they won't, their driveway won't be impacted?
No.
Okay.
No. No, it shouldn't be anywhere close to that, really.
Just right here.
Okay.
Right now, we have it going to the end of the work being July 10th. But we'll have to see how the weather cooperates.
Motion to approve claims.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the claims and reports from Sandquist, a second by Dimmitt. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Nuisance properties.
The only thing, I had a conversation, email conversation, very grateful to Pat for getting me straightened out regarding, we had an issue, Paul Miller came in and we were talking about a property and that actually was a noxious weed issue in which Dan Miller had done lots of work in trying to get that eradicated. And Pat, I initially thought it would maybe fall under a nuisance ordinance. It does not. We have a process with weed resolution, and so in discussing it with Pat, I did not pursue it with Russ to review. And Dan has subsequently indicated to me that the property owner indicated that they had hired somebody to do the spraying. So Pat, if you're still there, thanks.
Okay, seeing nothing else on the agenda for today, I would allow a motion to adjourn.
So,
Second.
Okay, I have a motion from Sandquist, a second from Dimmitt to adjourn today's meeting. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining in on the meeting with us.
Well, you spent a chunk of change this last 2 weeks, didn't you? Almost, well over.